It gets the name Lake of Dreams for a reason.
Well, we are in again.
Oh, now it feels 50. Look at that.
I realised they were shooting round on the digital dials. We thought it was bigger. It is bigger. I just caught a brace of UK 50-pounders.
This one is a real sought after carp in Grenville. You get that in, another rod goes, and before long, it was utter mayhem.
That is a nice carp, man. What a beauty. What a beauty!
Wow. Looking back on the greatest session of my life at what I think is one of the greatest carp lakes on this planet, Grenville. It gets the name Lake of Dreams for a reason. And we were very lucky to fish it back in May 2022 for the Grand Fishing Adventure, and Bobby had the session of a lifetime. I also had an incredible session, but to be able to go back there in July 2023, the first person in the cabin swim of the year. Paul books it out every year before the syndicate reopens from July to the middle of July, and I was the first in, and I was thinking big, the thought of possibly another UK 50. It's fair to say I was in a pretty big rush to get the rods out, so it hadn't long been after we'd launched the chods away, our ready tied chod ends, so I tied them straight to our blend coated braid, which was then attached to the magic twig, which was then attached to the lead system. So the beauty of the magic twig is it's like a junction already in your existing rigs. It just slots in the middle, hook link attached, and we knew also the reason I chose the chods away was when we did the Grand Fishing Adventure there previously, the big pop-ups over bait was definitely the best method. So I always tend to fish with higher tracks, so my hook baits were a mix of different really buoyant pop-ups soaked in different goos. I had some white ones that had been soaked in buttercorn and isotonic and a bit of tiger nut goo, and then I had some other ones that had been soaked in no name and isotonic. So they were yellow, they were whites, and normally what I like to do is start with a couple of different types, and at the same time I also wanted to see whether the height of pop-up would make a difference. So I used the long chods away and the short, one of each on each spot, so that I'd get a good quick indication of what the carp wanted. So that was the starting approach from the very beginning. The other good thing when Paul books Grenville out, if you like, on a corporate week, or in this case the cabin swim at the beginning of July, was able to use the boat, which when I can use a boat, I'll always choose to use the boat because I absolutely love using the Carp Lounge technology. It was just before the RT7 had arrived, so I was still using my RT4, but it just means even though Paul is baiting them poles on Grenville, and he'll go out, he does it for members, you can basically pay him to go out and hit a bait on the spot. But being able to use the bait boat as well to introduce a big clump, if you like, or not, it's up to you. But in my instance, I knew July time, they've spawned, they're up for grub. He's putting 10, 15 kilos onto the spots like he would do all through to keep these fish in prime condition. So it's looking good. The rods were finally out, nice and quickly, if you like, much quicker than I'd normally get them out. It normally take me about 6 years when I'm making a TV show, but they were out, but I still didn't know what to expect. You think it's going to be good, the conditions are great, but it didn't take long. I didn't expect the action to be that quick. You sort of hope it's going to be that quick, and funnily enough, on the first fish, the mic didn't work. It cut out, there was something wrong with the cable, but lo and behold, of course, it was a Grenville 30-pounder that came to the net.
Oh, my life, I forgot. Well, actually, I didn't forget. I've just been reminded what a spectacular lake this is. We are back at Grenville. The last time I was fortunate enough to fish here was for the Grand Fishing Adventure. Now I'm back on my own to make a little session film, hopefully catching a few more like this. For the first time in what feels like a decade, I've actually got the rods out pretty sharpish and managed to catch this.
And then suddenly another rod goes, and then you're like, oh my God, this is gonna be good.
Well, we just slipped the 31A back, and then the rod on the right of the left-hand spot has gone.
37?
5.
Oh, it's good. It's good, I can feel it. See that? Invisible weighing of fish. 37.5.
Oh, there you go. That is a Grenville breeze block. And it ain't even a big one. Well, it is a big one, but it ain't a big one for Grenville. 37 pounds, 5 ounces. And the rest is yet to come. We might blank for the rest of the trip. It don't matter because look at this. What a start. What a start. Breeze block.
You get that in, another rod goes, and before long, it was utter mayhem. And to be honest with you, I don't think I wasn't prepared for what was about to ensue. Like it was madness. Those first few hours, I'm getting old. I'm not made for this anymore.
And that was I was just about to put a short chod on. The long one's gone as well. There you go. God, why can't all sessions be like this? 34.3. Lovely. Look at that. Incredible. Lovely. And that one snaffled once again on the little hinge stiff with the chods away. Lovely jubbly. What a start. That is a nice carp, man. What a beauty. What a beauty.
Finally, those early fish were back and returned, and some amazing 30-pounders under our belt already. To be honest with you, that's a session's worth of fish for sure. But going into that evening with the rods back out, I don't think there was a little lull in the action, and then I hooked something that instantly felt bigger. As soon as I remember remarking to the lads, as soon as I picked it up, I was like, this is bigger. Slower fish. OMC sample reel debut. It's going to be fat, this one. Deep-bodied mirror. So we're playing this fish, you know it's big, it comes in, I net it, and I'm looking at it and going, this is huge. I couldn't comprehend how big it was because it felt like a big jump up from what we'd previously caught in the day. Then the other rod rips off. So you're now you're taking this fish you're looking at it, and you're now playing another fish. No sleep. And again, this third bite in this flurry of 3 takes back to back also felt big, and I said, this is also big. I could feel it. It was big, definitely big. I'm sorry for selfishly just catching fish. This is a big one. Yeah, it's a slow mover. Another slow mover. £5 bet?
Yeah, I would say.
Slightly longer mirror, yeah, not as deep. Slow. We like them when they're slow. All the rods are now being put on shorter chods away because the early bite suggested they wanted it lower down. So the 50-50 mix of long chods away versus short ones. The more bites on the short, even though we had the equal amount of rods out. So I've changed all of the rods to short, and they've all, bar one, have ripped off. And when we've netted it, I've looked at it and I thought, oh, it's quite big. I didn't know how big because my whole focus was on this other fish that we'd already landed. Like it was, I knew I was looking at it. The lads were looking at it and we're like, this is ginormous. And this is 11 o'clock at night. Like I'm shattered already, but now almost sort of delirious with what is going on, not prepared for it. And then we started obviously processing the weighing of them. As soon as Gabby started lifting up the scales, I realised they were shooting round on the digital dials
and he had barely got it off the ground. And then it was a 50. That's a 50-pounder. Right, let's weigh the other one. We might have a brace of UK 50s, yes? 51 pound on the nose. That is mad. It was a 50-pounder and it was the smallest one of the two real big uns. Oh, now it feels 50. Look at that. Properly what this lake, properly what this lake is famed for. Look at that, it's top heavy. That is a proper breeze block of a mirror. There's a bigger one in the sling. Oh, let's have a good look at it. There you go. Oh my God, caught that. It's very, very beautifully satisfying to catch it from an amazing lake, but also on those ready-made chods away. Chunk. But then my brain was like, well, if that's 51, how big's the other one? That is 50, 54, 54, 11. A 51 and a 54. We thought it was bigger. It is bigger. I just caught a brace of UK 50-pounders in less than, you can lower it, Gab. Madness. Look at that. 54 pounds and 11 ounces. A new UK PB, baby. Look at that. That is an absolute behemoth. Wowzers. I promise you, I'm going to go to bed. I'm not going to put the rods out anymore. I'm going to relish in this moment, revel in this moment. And tomorrow, I'm going to show you a little bit more detail about how I've gone and caught them. Thank you, Mr. Paul Ward. Thank you for letting us back to fish this incredible place. That is a carp to remember. I'd only ever had one UK 50 before, so to catch two back to back within minutes of each other, I was shell shocked, to be honest, because the old saying goes, you can only catch what's in front of you. But it just reminded me just what an incredible place this was. And I ain't greedy. And do you know what? It all happened in a space of an hour from landing them, weighing them, photographing them, returning them, and then the rods were not going out. I know some people will think that's mad and that when there's bites to be had, you should be getting your rods back out. But I was absolutely shattered, and to be honest with you, so ecstatic that I think everyone deserved the kip, the crew, and I went to bed, even though it was very late, middle of the night into the next morning, but I went to bed happy, really happy. Well, normally you'd think when you come to somewhere that you're going to try to catch the biggest carp you've ever caught from the British Isles. Maybe, with my experience, I'd tie a rig, a fresh rig. Nope, I thought, put your money where your mouth is, Hamidi, and I'm using actually the Chods Away ready tied chod ends, okay? The reason I did that is because I know this lake responds very well to pop-ups. At the very beginning of the session, I experimented by using both the short Chods Away and the long Chods Away. I love a size 4 hook, especially on a pop-up. I'm not, some people, we do them down to a size 8, okay? But for me, a size 6 looks tiny. So I did have a couple of rods on size 6s, but I've now gone to size 4, Chods Away in the short. That's how the session's evolved. And it's so easy to use these. You've got a size 11 ring swivel on the actual end of the chod section. And all I'm doing is taking the blend coated braid and just simply tying that direct to the swivel, and then I'm tying the end of that about 8 or 9 inches directly to my lead system. If you've never used this type of rig before, I suppose getting them ready tied for speed and convenience, and getting a good gauge of how you should tie them and how they should look if you were to tie your own. But so far, so good. A brace of UK 50s. They are the biggest fish I've ever caught on a ready tied setup. And that is our opening, well, what got us to a flying start, got us off to an absolute flyer. Fresh after showing you the actual rigs in a bit of detail.
When you've caught two 50-pounders the night before, to then get the rods back out and then hook this fish that it's a fish of dreams. You know, this one is a real sought after carp in Grenville, and I kind of didn't know it till after, but I sort of realised when it broke the surface that this was something spectacular.
Oh, big boils twisting and turning down there. This one does not want to give up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's a meaty one. That is a meaty one. Look at the shoulders, lovely. Don't know if it's got the depth, but it's another one. Fallen to the same method. Oh, get in. Yes. Lovely carp. Look at that. Here we go, Gab. Go on, son. This is bigger than you think. Not as big as I thought, because I had to lift it out of the water. It is 48, 10, 9, 48, 9, 48, 9. 48.9. We needed a 40 just to, you know, fill up the gaps, but whoa, it's a linear as well. Get in there. 48 pounds, 9 ounces of glorious, superbly, amazingly incredible Grenville mirror carp. Look at that, ladies and gents. I think that's a fitting time to have a little play. I'm going to have a little rig adjustment now. We know the Chods away have done the business, but I'm going to have a little tinker. You don't get opportunities like this very often in life, especially when it comes to carp fishing. You've just got to savour it. Look at that fish.
Normally this fish would be 50 pounds, but you know, I've gone, it's July, they're obviously at their sort of probably their lowest weight that they're going to be. And then when the pictures, I first put them on social media, onto Instagram and stuff, I started getting messages from some of the Grenville members. One of them, a very good mate in Roger Bacon, who's, even though he's caught so many carp from there, this one remained on his hit list. So, sorry, Rog, I'm sure you're going to catch it, and I'm absolutely privileged to catch it. And to see the photos back, when you look at it, them beautiful photos that Josh took, especially the returner in front of the sort of like canopy to the left of the cabin swim, and you see it in the background, and you've got that expanse of Grenville water behind you. That is a real fish of a lifetime. And I suppose if you were to put a snapshot of a carp that epitomises what Grenville is all about, it'd probably be that carp, or one of them, because it is an absolute wood carving. Some people won't realise, but actually, when I'd actually booked this trip with Grenville, not long after we had the tragic earthquakes that happened in Turkey, Syria, and Iran. So even though we were planned to, I was obviously going to fish, I thought I wanted to raise some money for the earthquake victims. So I decided to run a competition for someone to come and join me on this particular trip. So yeah, I'd give up my rods for 30 hours, but we were going to raise some money for charity, and someone that probably might never get a chance to fish Grenville was going to get the chance, a trip of an experience of a lifetime, let's call it that. And a very lovely gentleman called Tio joined us, who was a winner off U-Win competitions. I was processing, tying rigs, doing the baiting, going through the procedures, but it was Tio's time to have some fun and get some serious soaking. So if you want to watch the rest of it, you watch if you like, the second film of Tio's experience. But yeah, he had some fun, and we might as well drop a few bucket soakings into this little video as well.
Watch your eardrums!
I started using a little setup that I call my Dazzler Chod. That is mean.
We're bringing some new toys out to play.
That is called the Dazzler Chod. And that's just using one of the curved Dazzlers. In this case, it was the Magaliner curve and with a Cassian hook. You know, one more cast philosophy is always to keep learning, keep evolving, keep innovating. And during these sort of sessions, big fish, I'm not fearful of learning more. And so the little Dazzler Chod on the hinge went out and we started picking off some bites with that as well.
We actually had to wait for a bite. I reckon for the first time in the session, I actually had a few rods out for a few hours. 4 or 5 hours, 5 hours I reckon. 5 hours I reckon without a bite, which on this session feels like a long time. The sky's clearing up, the clouds seem a long way away. And the wind is off our back, pushing the other side. So a few things against us, but what we have got for us is the fact that this area has seen bait. This is where they get a regular stream of food. And I am the first lucky sod in here in the new season. So you've got to go through during a few days of fishing. You've got to go, you're going to have lulls. Oh, is that a double take?
Yeah.
Oh, double take. Oh, go on. Oh, another one's bitten the dust. Another one bites the dust. Come in there. Sit there, mate. Oh, thanks, Gab. Double takes galore. Weird, like you're waiting, you don't have a bite, and then a rod off each spot goes. Whew. Never rains, it pours. A Grenville shower. Ah, it's got a better. It's like a golden shower. Well, it's time I show you some of this amazing bait that we've been using throughout the session. Let's have a look at it. So really, for all intents and purposes, it's a mixture of the mainline bait that I use everywhere I go, the different boilies, and also the local bait. Paul at Grenville, one of the main reasons these fish are the condition they are, the size they are, is the amount of time, his personal time and investment he puts into creating a top-class nutritional food source for them, that even when there's not anglers here, he's keeping it going in, keeping them fish in great tip-top condition. So you're mad if you go somewhere and you know there's a local bait. It doesn't matter who you're sponsored by, make sure you've got some of it in your mix. You know, whether you got a favourite bait or you're sponsored by someone, get that local mix, that local bait in with your stuff, and that will give you the best of both worlds. That's exactly what I've done. So to knock this up, what I do is I first add some of my mainline bait. I like different sizes, so I've got some 18mm link that I put into the bottom of the bucket. I try to do it a mix at a time. Then I've added some 14mm cell. I've also added some of the mainline match range halibuts. They've gone in as well, just a few handfuls. It breaks down, leaves a bit more legacy. There's also some maize in there, but that comes from the mix that Paul provides. So everyone who fishes Grenville can request Paul to drop bait out by a boat in their session, and he knocks up a lovely bucket of bait, and it's got these pillows in it, these almost steamed pillows. They're lovely big chunky versions of, if you like, of his mix. There's also these crazy, where are they? Some crazy logs in here. Look, these go through a chipper, so they're like come out the sausage gun that you'd make the boilies with, and they're so lovely. You can still feel the paste inside them, super soluble, but they're big old chunks. And what I like about this is you've got a mix of all different sizes. So once I've got the mainline components in, I'm then taking a big scoop of the bucket that Paul provides, throwing it all in there, giving it a right old mix, and then adding a good guzzle of mainline hemp oil, okay? And that, not only does it give me a slick to tell me there's fish on the spot. It's another layer of attraction, nutrition. The fish absolutely love this. This is post-spawning fishing where the carp are hungry, they want grub, okay? It's not like pre-spawning in spring where, you know, little traps work, small amounts of baits, little and often. Here, we're putting big hits of bait down, 2 or 3 kilos at a time. It is, of course, going to be an expensive way of fishing, but if you want to build a big hit on a lake with a big stock of carp, then that's what you've got to do. You've got to keep them fed, keep them coming back to the spot and giving them grub that they want to eat, that's also very digestible and it goes through them quickly. And that's what we've got, the combination of mainline bait and, of course, the famous Paul Ward Grenville bait. And look, it really does crumble lovely. It's pasty, highly nutritious, and the carp, as you've seen, absolutely love it. Very rarely in your life do you have sessions like this, and I suppose one of the hardest parts of going away filming, and I know it sounds funny, but once you become a father, you want to be with your kid as much as possible. And I'm at home a lot, you know, with One More Cast and on the computer doing everything you need to do to run a company. So when you're on the bank, but luckily it's not a million miles from where we live. So there was one particular crazy day. Not only does our beloved Craig Barwell, the man, the legend that is now Mr. Twig, if you like, who came to us with the original concept, Craig comes down because we were filming at that point the stuff in the cabin for the documentary of the now very famous Magic Twig documentary. So, and our families come down. So it was lovely to have Craig come and actually net one of the Grenville fish for me, of course, on a Magic Twig. And yeah, we had, it was a magical day, that one, because Craig come down, landed a fish. Look at that. Kiss, kiss. Ah, no, you got to put, come on, mate, go on. Paul's son, Freddie, who is just an incredible little character, full of spark, and he come down with everyone and help land the fish, and we do a little jig together. Have you done a netting before? Yeah, this is you now. This is you. This is you. You go at the front. Oh, it's a lovely fish. Don't cock it up. Right, lower than that now. That's it. Now, wait. Lift, Freddie. Lift, lift. Yes, Freddie, get in there, son. Yeah. Epic family shot of there's Paul, Lisa, Freddie, my wife, Emma, father-in-law, baby. Look at you. Yeah. Hey, look at the big camera. Hey. All of us in with this carp, and for me, that's what it's all about. You know, if you can share these moments with your family and Paul's family, I think it's to me, that's the future of carp fishing needs to be more about families enjoying the great outdoors. And there's no doubt my little daughter's going to be exposed to a lot of outdoor life for sure. Certainly more fishing in the outdoors than there will be control pads and Xboxes. This is momentous. It's all going off here, Josh. It's all going off today, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's happening.
It's all going off, isn't it? Family, products, competition winners. Omar's bum. Did you see that? Mate, that, Omar, give him a little flash of it now. I saw, show him what I had to see. Now that is cracking. I don't think I actually I call it the roll of honour, because the fish are the ones that deserve the credit. But it's such an insanely amazing trip that when I look back and I'm going through, I wrote, because all the weights have to be logged at Grenville, looking back at what I caught, you just think, wow, is that ever going to happen again in my lifetime? For me, of course, I'm sure it'll happen for other people, but for me, it's a session I'll never ever forget. And Paul Ward, this is to you. You have created, through hard work, which I'm inspired by, the most magical
lake with the most incredible carp I've ever had the privilege of fishing. And yes, I will be back, as Arnie said. But if I don't ever come back, because time doesn't allow, then I've enjoyed the greatest session of my life. Thank you, Lake of Dreams.